Well, this weekend we had a chance to visit with many constituents up in Cerro, which is up in northern Taos County, in and around the Cuesta area, and also at the EOC, not only in Cuesta but also down in Taos. And there was a lot of urgency from the mayor up there. The mayor cares just so much about people, and she was concerned with getting resources and help up there. So we appreciate her advocacy, the advocacy of Brent, who helps run things up there, but all of the volunteers, even the firefighters, with the advocacy that they brought. We were meeting with veterans as well, and up at the VFW, we saw some pipes frozen and some pipes compromised over at the VFW where they need some help. And that's an example of what we're seeing, when we're talking to some of the elderly homeowners in the community who are staying at home because they're worried that if they're not there when it's time to turn on the pilots, that they're not going to be able to get that heat. And so they're at home doing what they can, and they're shivering, but they're brought to tears.
And you're in Washington.
That we need to make sure that we're helping.
And you're in Washington and know a lot about the resources at the federal level. What are you able to do, and what are you hearing about federal involvement in this state of emergency?
Well, one thing that we do know is that FEMA is willing to provide support and assistance, and from what we understand this morning, there's some conversations going on. But what we heard today as well from the Secretary of Homeland Security in the hearing and Natural Resources was that there's not been a formal request made to FEMA to come into the state, and there was not a response or able to answer a question if we can expect a formal request coming in. At this point, we just need to make sure that we have all resources on the table, whether we can use federal funding or not. That remains to be seen. I certainly believe that there's some support out there for small businesses and for individuals that have been impacted, and we just want to make sure that that request gets out there as soon as possible, so that way everyone can begin to do more. We just appreciate everyone's due diligence in making sure they're putting New Mexicans first, and that's our first and foremost wish, is that we're able to get heat restored and get help to people that are in need.
And then the second longer range stuff is getting assistance that's available from FEMA. Why do you think that a formal request has not been made?
I'm not certain, but I certainly hope that one comes, and it's clear that it can only come from the state of New Mexico via the governor's office to FEMA, and so we're certainly hopeful that something will take place soon.
Is your office in contact with her, urging her in direct conversation?
We've definitely urged our concern, and we're certainly hoping that we'll see that request as being something that's coming forthright. We are seeing the EOCs on the ground working with the counties, working with the state Homeland Security, doing a great job in reaching out to people. But we believe that there's some other support that could make itself available if a formal request does get made to FEMA Region 6 to begin to come to the state.